Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Good day, folks.
How's everyone doing?
Doing good. I don't think Tracy's going to be able to join us today because she's in Monterey at that Linux Foundation meeting.
Oh, she's here. Okay, good.
Yeah, I saw her last night.
Yeah, she usually books a bunch of meetings with folks to be in person, so we'll see.
Good. I'm in Monterey too, so maybe I'll see you later then. That easy. All right. We should get started then. I didn't have too many things for the agenda today, but feel free to add as we go if you have topics to bring up. So the first thing I just wanted to mention. Oh, hi Tracy.
Yay.
The first thing I wanted to mention is that Roxanne put together a social media guide for CDF project based on some previous discussions. So right now it's in a Google document with some details and suggestions for a project, how they can handle social media communication, basically. So I just wanted to share it with the team here. Roxanne is going to publish it on GitHub next week. So if you have comments, inputs, feedback, feel free to share it. So she can incorporate it before it's published or after, depending. And yeah, I guess once it's officially published, we'll share it with the projects as well, so that everyone is aware of it and hopefully can benefit from it.
Do you know which repo it's going to go into?
I imagine somewhere in the CDF GitHub.
So it'll be like, would it be in the TOC repo or in the main CDF repo?
It'll be under Foundation repo. All the guidelines are under Foundation repo.
Okay, that's all right. Thanks.
Thanks, Fatih. Okay. The other thing I wanted to maybe continue the conversation we had last week on project infrastructure funding. And I was wondering if there was any update since last time we spoke on the status of the funding. And also last meeting, we kind of concluded saying that we should work with the outreach group so that to make people more aware that what the impact of lack of funding for our project is, and perhaps bring this idea to the governing board. So yeah, just wanted to follow up on that and see if there was any update or any plan for communicating with the outreach group.
I did, I had dinner with Lori last night. I'm in Monterey. Andre, are you in Monterey?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
So,
well, yeah, we'll have to say hello while we're both in the same state. So I'll chat with her to get some of her ideas of what the marketing committee and outreach are willing to do and what they think they should do. I'm not sure how long Lori will be in that role, if she is looking for a new job, and it depends if they will allow her to continue working on open source projects. But she's been pretty involved, so I will chat with her about it.
thanks, Tracy. All right.
I don't think Michelle or Roxanne are here. I'm sure they're not.
Yeah, I don't think Roxanne will be here. I don't know about Michelle.
Fati, do you know if Michelle's around? And did you know if she was coming out
No.
here? Okay.
No, she is not there.
I'll ask around if she's here or look for her. I don't think she's going to be here though.
Okay. Does anyone have any update on the Google credits application? Chance? I haven't heard anything new. But I think Robert is here as well, so maybe I can ask him. All right. The other thing I wanted to follow up upon is last week, Tracy, you brought up the Selenium project.
Yeah, so this core project, it's kind of, I don't know what they're going to do. So apparently the CD Foundation and the Linux Foundation is called a 501c6 instead of a 501c3. And that has to do with how they raise money through memberships. And in the contract that was defined when they went to their current open source foundation, if they were to leave, they had to go to another 501c3 instead of a 501c6. So right now, what they're going to try to do, and I chatted a bit with Jason at Sauce Labs about this. They have a couple of attorneys working on it, and they may create a 501c3 so that they can roll over into the 501c3 and with their cash, and then reach out to us for a permanent home where they have somebody else to help them with governance, because it's not something that the committers want to do. So for now, they have to wait until they can figure out the most urgent need for them is to find a 501c3 or create one. So I think that they're going to create one and get out of their current situation, and then potentially look at finding a new one and closing down the 501c3. It's kind of a mess. But they are still interested in finding a permanent home after they get through this legal challenge.
That's a weird stepping stone that they have to do that.
Yeah.
And I guess there's no way that Jason's already looked at changing the governing structure or whatever at Selenium.
It was a contract, apparently.
Huh. I've never heard of an open source project having a contract.
Yep, that's apparently how they did it. They have a contract and it says if they leave, they have to go to another 501c3. And there's quite a bit of money in that account. So I think that I can't remember the name of the open source project that Selenium's in it right now.
It may be something like open source solutions or something like that.
I'll think about it in a minute, but it doesn't matter. I'm sure that they're looking to try to hold on to that cash as well, because it's like, Jason says it's somewhere around $500,000. Because they do have their own sponsors.
Right.
So I will keep you all posted as when I
Yeah.
hear. And they had to do this, I think, everything had to be sorted out by around the 15th of December.
Yeah, so they're probably just going to create their own 501 because it's going to take creating the corporation is just a couple of hours, but getting the response back from the federal government on this C3 status will take a couple months.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what they're going to do, but they have a couple of attorneys working on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the difference, to be honest, between a C3 or a C6.
Yeah.
You know
but-
what? I don't think that when they did that contract, that they even realized that was a problem. Well, oftentimes when we say a 501c3, it just is a broader umbrella that says it's a nonprofit, which the Linux Foundation falls into, but it says in the contract 501c3. And when they looked at moving over, the current foundation said, well, you can't do that because the Linux Foundation's a 501c6.
Yeah, I actually
So-
looked into this. So 501c3, when you donate money to it, it's tax deductible for the people that are making the contribution. And a C6 is still a nonprofit, but the donations are still taxed. And that'll throw, so you can't, in our tax system, you get this whole write-off thing that you get to do. When you go to a C3, it's basically non-taxed.
Okay.
So is
that's where they
Selenium
stand.
charitable?
What was the question?
I was asking if they're a charity. I mean, do they do charitable work? Do they feed the homeless and getting housing? And
I don't know. Did you
Um,
see? That's a good question, but that,
and
that's what a
that's one of,
C3 is. It's a charity, right?
right.
it is, and you can, basically have to have a mission statement, and your mission statement can be, I'm going to help other small companies, you know, do X, Y, and Z, and that could be the charity
That could be
that
their
they're
mission.
doing, their mission.
Yeah.
And the mission statements can be pretty weird because if you could actually lock yourself into only doing work in a certain geographical location.
Right.
If you say I'm going to only do help out companies in California, then you've locked yourself in with your mission statement. And there's ways around it, but it's all based on the mission statement. And it doesn't have to be feeding people to be a charity. But that's the gist of it.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Interesting. Thanks.
I will stay on top of it though.
Thanks, Tracy. Cool. Yeah, I hope it goes well for them, and maybe that they can join us eventually.
Yes.
It would be great. All righty. Project updates. For city events, I just wanted to bring up, we have some new contributors. So Bloomberg has been joining our meetings on a regular basis. And we have someone from a company called Intelligent Growth Solutions in the UK, in Scotland. They do like vertical growth, agriculture or something like that. But so they've been attending our city events meeting on a regular basis, and it's very good to see the community growing. And one of the areas that is of interest also for Bloomberg, as well as Apple, and then Apple has been collaborating on that, is to expand the scope of city events into the area of tickets and approvals. So that's something that we are working on right now as well. So basically saying, well, a lot of CI/CD or DevOps processes involve some kind of approval, whether there is a human pushing a button or in some cases, some policy that is processed and enforced automatically, then it's granting an approval. And so for a broader and more complete auditing, there is interest in being able to track this kind of events as well. Just wanted to share this. I don't know if there are any other updates from any other projects.
The only thing I don't know if we have on here is just Hacktoberfest. For us, it's been going pretty slow. We've had a few new people. Well, let me rephrase it. We've had about 4 or 5 new people join the project because of Hacktoberfest, but we're not getting a lot of pull requests pushed through, to get your quantity of 4 that's required. But we usually have a mad sprint at the last 2 days. So I think overall it's been successful. But as far as getting new members, but getting things closed out, it's a little bit slower than we've seen in the past.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Yeah, we got a little bit, few contributions on Tecton and city events, also very, very limited in numbers. Not much really.
It kind of feels like DigitalOcean is just doing Hacktoberfest just to do it, kind of keep it alive, but I don't feel like they're pushing it as much as they were before.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're really committed to it.
I think the one must have been like 4 years ago. It was really big, and I think it just cost them a huge amount.
Yeah, it must be a significant investment, and given the current situation of CDF, it's probably not something that we could try and drive ourselves with better results, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the updates on that. Anything else? Any other updates folks wanted to bring to this group or topics for discussion?
I do have one. So I have been kind of, I've been watching. I'm on the OpenSSF. I used to be on the OpenSSF board. I've been watching what the OpenSSF is doing still, and they there's a new project. I think it's called. Is it ZAP, Steve? Simon Bennett? I
Yeah,
think that was
Zap.
the name of it. ZAP.
Yeah, I'd have to find the website.
And
But
ZAP is uses in toto to track and audit the CD pipeline. It's basically what it's doing. So it's like Tecton chains, except it's for any kind of CD pipeline. There was something in their documentation that I was reading that brought up it just was a red flag, and will bring it up here. They define supply chain as, it sounds like a DevOps pipeline. The processes that are involved from moving code from development through production, and that's what they call the supply chain. And from a positioning standpoint, I always look at the concern of becoming irrelevant. And I don't know if other people are considering supply chain, the CD pipeline. When I think of supply chain, I think of builds, consuming libraries, and pulling them into your packages, and then pushing those out to, deployed environments through a repo with different key value pairs and configurations that go along with it. That's how I see the supply chain. does anybody know how our current SIG defines themselves as in supply chain?
Good question. I'm not sure
allergic
how.
I'm allergic to California. Every time I come here, I get allergies.
Oh no.
I was like, oh, I shouldn't have opened the door.
So Tracy, I don't know. I don't think it's ZAP.
Oh,
ZAP.
I'm sorry. It's SBOMIT.
Thank you.
There's a
That
project
makes more
called
sense.
SBOMIT. Yeah, it's SBOMIT. And they're
So-
using
so-
in Toto to do the tracking and add it to the SBOM.
Yeah.
Now,
so
the reason why yeah, go ahead, Steve.
the ZAP proxy is for automated testing, dynamic testing
That's right.
of the pipeline. So 2 different topics. I'll correct
Yeah.
the.
So yeah, SBOMIT is the one. Now, my understanding is that SBOMIT, if you go in there, you're going to see that they're going to start a new foundation called the Secure Software Project. And it says it's going to be announced in 2024. We have been undermined in the past with the Open SSF. And when I see things like this coming through, I feel like we should at least be aware of the possibility. Yeah, Steve, do you know where that reference was to the Secure Software Project?
That was
You
ZAP.
go back to,
That was
that was ZAP.
proxy. Yeah.
So ZAP has a reference to the new foundation that's going to be
okay, and SBOMIT has become a new project, the first project under the Open SSF. And this one is going to be, looks like it's going to go to the Secure Software Project. So that's what's happening, and that says it's going to be announced in 2024. So that's kind of what's happening in terms of messaging and branding around continuous delivery. I don't know if there's anything we can do, but I feel like maybe a couple of us co-author an article on what supply chain is versus continuous delivery, to put a stake in the ground to say this is how the CDF Oversight Committee sees supply chain versus continuous delivery. But I'm just putting it out there because I feel like we should be aware of how industry is starting to brand supply chain. And
Yeah,
I saw a little bit of this with actually a lot of this with ChainGuard. Because ChainGuard, they talked a lot about supply chain, and their focus was using Tecton chains to kind of audit the process. And that conversation is continuing now with SBOMIT and the Open SSF. But my concern is we end up being the creaky old continuous delivery foundation, and then because something's called supply chain, it is the shiny new object.
Tracy, I think what you're saying is the problem that actually I was hoping I could talk to you about while I'm here.
Okay.
I guess the way that I look at it, this is really a question for the Linux Foundation and how they want to represent this space overall, and really aligning their foundations with specific goals. Because it's more of, yes, you're absolutely right. There's this hodgepodge kind of thing. And if different pieces are repeating themselves over and over again, we don't have any synergy. We're not really locked. We're not really leading people. We're just throwing up a bunch of options and being very confusing. And that's the problem that I'd like to see solved in all, or at least I'm hoping that, we can solve in all of this. And I met with Robert last week to talk about this, to start talking about this. But actually I was really excited to see you, because I know you have a lot of information and insight into this problem, and I'm hoping that you know, it can get addressed, but it really should be the Linux Foundation kind of saying, okay, this is what we're trying to accomplish. These are the lanes and how it's being driven. Because yeah, there's a lot of overlap, and CD encompasses a lot more than just cloud, and a lot more than just an SBOM. And if it's not going to be set up to be like, you know, this is what we're doing, and it's clear, then it does become a question of why are we doing it.
Well, that's the tricky part with the Linux Foundation is they have a tendency, like Tracy said, to follow the shiny new object, which may be just a new phrase for the same old thing. So,
Well, I feel like it should be a new phrase for really exploiting the problem of the supply chain of software, including the open source packages that come through the build. And I feel like it's diluting both that problem as well as confusing what a CD pipeline is. So, you know, it's just so it annoys me when I see this kind of marketing. It really does. It's like, come on, this is already confusing enough space. Do we have to now call continuous deliveries now supply chain? And I should have picked up on that several years back when I was on the CDF board and we were asking if we were going to do a CD con at KubeCon, and she said no, but we're going to do a supply chain con, and that was handed off to Dan to completely manage. So at that point, I think that I was shocked that that was happening, but I never questioned it beyond that. You know, some things I got a business to run. But now I see it as being more of a problem as more people start using the term supply chain management to describe the CD pipeline.
does anybody know what foundation in Toto is part of? Is it part of the CNCF?
No, I don't.
yeah.
It is?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
Even though in Toto itself is not cloud native, strictly cloud native only, but they are in the CNCF.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I definitely agree that, I mean, the two terms should not be like exchanged one with the other. I mean, they're two different things. But I guess like supply chain is kind of the hype name right now, so that everyone ends up using supply chain in all context just to, you know, get more attention, get more money. I'm not sure. I mean, I think yeah.
So I guess my question is, if I started a doc, would anybody else like to join me in authoring that? Cool, Melissa.
Love to. Yeah.
Okay. And anybody else too, the more names we have on it, the better off we'll be. And we can certainly get it published as a blog, at least through the CDF.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, you know, at least review or try to contribute to it. Yeah, I think at least doing some messaging through a blog post sounds like a great idea to me.
Okay, I have got some travel to do, and I will start working on it.
Thank you, Tracy. Okay. All right, I think jet lag is hitting me a little bit. If someone can type something more meaningful than me.
And Tracy, I wonder if we could reach out to, I know Krob from the OpenSSF side may not have the bandwidth, but maybe somebody from that group may be able to chime in as well.
I'll ask around if anybody's interested in doing so, but considering that's their first and only open source project, they may not want to do that. I don't know, but I will, you know, there's always politics involved. But I will ask around.
Yeah, and I know that the early announcement of the software security project was pretty controversial within the OpenSSF itself.
Yes, it still is.
And so,
But SBOM is in the OpenSSF and it's their first open source project. And I think they're pretty excited about it. But I think it's interesting that the first thing that they do is talk about the CD pipeline and auditing it. They call it the supply chain. So when I read it, I read their specs several times and I was like so confused by it because my brain's thinking about sucking in libraries and tracking them, worrying about provenance, and then I realized what they were talking about was auditing the pipeline itself, like ChainGuard or like Tecton chains.
okay. All right. Anything else from anyone? All right. Thanks for the great discussion today. And have a great rest of your day.
Okay, I'll find you, Andrea.
See you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Thanks. Bye.